Hey everybody, it's Small G Gay. This is what I look like, by the way, FYI. No, actually, this is Little Ricky. No, actually, this is Rick Santorum. No, actually, this is Ricky Nelson, or as he was later called, Rick Nelson, which I think is a mistake, because I think Ricky Nelson is like the sexiest name of all time. For the sexiest singer of all time. I mean, Ricky Nelson is just flawless. Ricky Nelson makes the young Elvis look like Karl Rove. I mean, Ricky Nelson was just Ricky Nelson is like the best looking guy in the history of the world. He is pretty incredible. Oh, I thought I'd rather look at him through a whole blog than Little Ricky. I tried to find pictures of Little Ricky, but there weren't many that I liked. I wanted a Ricky because it's Rick Santorum's last day. He bowed out today. After yesterday vowing to stay in, now he's out. And Gingrich, who looked like he was going out, is vowed now to stay in. Maybe he'll be out tomorrow. I think Gingrich is waiting for the... Gingrich is honestly thinking that he'll get all of Rick Santorum's supporters. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. So anyway, I'm exhausted, aren't you? Aren't you all exhausted? And so anyway, Rick Santorum got out just in time. He's got his family issues, which gives him a good reason. The truth be told, it didn't look like he was going to get Pennsylvania, and that would be political suicide for him to not get his home state at this point, especially after that last senatorial election where he was so roundly defeated. And, you know, what is he going to do? He had to bow out. So, anyway, apparently he has a lot of debt. So does Gingrich. Gingrich was sounding like he'd made a deal with Romney, but now he's like trying to get those stubborn Rick Santorum supporters who refuse to go to Mitt Romney. Apparently Rick Santorum is such an incredible Tea Party candidate, you know, a pro-life big union Democrat basically, and but he's like their Tea Party ideal, and to even consider another candidate is just would be the biggest sellout imaginable when you had Rick Santorum there. So whatever. Now Gingrich is hoping that he can get him, but he won't. Even if you combine their delegates, they're still way behind. Romney. Oh, sorry. It's not an editorial comment. I'm just tired. I'm not yawning because of Mitt Romney. I was on that Steve Politics show last week, and he kind of got me because he gave me this question about what kind of position the cabinet Gingrich would be good at, and I said at first I was kind of taken by surprise because I hadn't even really considered it. And at first I said something with foreign policy, or I said budgeting, that'd be good, something with money like the Treasury or something. And then I realized, wait a minute, Gingrich has lost all this money and he's in debt, so. His check just bounced today. Did you hear about that? So maybe money is not the right thing for him. I'm just so sick of everybody. We need to just cut our losses and go with Romney and keep on keeping on. Obama's got to be kicked out of there, you guys. He's so bad. He's so horrible. Have you seen those pictures of him lately? There's pictures of him up on Drudge. And he looks so emaciated and freaked out. Like the kind of freak who's making all of these weird decisions for the Democrat Party and trying to incite a race war out of desperation. Whatever happened to there are no red states and blue states, only purple states? Whatever happened to that? It seems like we're more red and blue than ever. So anything that bad happens, they're going to swoop in there and try to make it look like it's racist or sexist, or this is why we have to vote for him because there's racism. Why he deserves to stay in there again because even if you accept this whole story, this whole George Martin story, Not George Martin. He's the one who just Game of Thrones. I just finished Game of Thrones, and maybe more on that in a minute. This George Zimmerman thing, even if it were like totally raging, we don't know what the details are yet, but even if it is like a totally raging racist thing, why does that mean you have to support Obama? You know? Why would that mean you had to vote for Obama if it were all like the way they're saying it is? We may well be. Who knows? But yeah. So I finished Game of Thrones, and that's kind of like the television, the Blu-ray. I just finished season 1. Everyone's seen it already. I'm not going to give away any spoilers if you haven't seen it. I enjoyed it very much, but gosh, that's a weird show, isn't it? But I did enjoy it, and yes, J.L. Thorpe, I broke down and watched an HBO product. But this is, I think, the only HBO show I've ever seen. I mean, original program. I saw that Bill Maher show a couple of times, but you know what I mean. I never watched The Sopranos or any of those other things, or The Sex and the City. No interest. I prefer more of the action and sci-fi fantasy, and, you know, I'm a geek. I much prefer that sort of stuff. So that was kind of interesting. But I was thinking it was kind of like this race for the Republican nomination, this Game of Thrones, all these different plots hatching away, you know, with Sarah Palin as the lady of the Wolf Clan of the North. Winter is coming, you know. Like everybody's like got a parallel there. Newt Gingrich is like that chubby old eunuch. I mean, I thought it was kind of interesting, and it was kind of, I kept thinking about the Republican race, and you know, who's gonna win it? Who's gonna get that Game of Thrones? Who's gonna get that crown? I love that acting in that show, and I like how you don't know what's gonna happen. And I like the characters a lot. They're really unusual. And I love that midget, or whatever you call them now, the half-size, whatever they're called. Little people? Little people. I love that little person who is such a terrific actor. I don't think I'd ever seen a midget act like that before. Or whatever you say, dwarf. I don't think I'd ever seen one act that way before, where he's so commanding. He's like a young Laurence Olivier, and he's only a half pint. And he's so compelling you can't take your eyes off him. Am I right? Those of you who've seen that show, he really makes that whole show tick. He's quite the actor. So anyway, what else is happening? I didn't do a show tonight. Remember I said I might not do one Monday or Tuesday. I may not do another one until Saturday. I'm always doing a show Saturday. You have that. You have my word. But I said I might pop up with vlogs instead, or I might pop up when you least expect it. There has to be a reason for me to do a show. And tonight I had dinner with the Fag Stag. He's doing well, thanks everyone. And we discussed Mr. Obama over McDonald's, and then we went to Barnes & Noble, and we discussed, and we had coffee and dessert there. I ate like a pig tonight, a P-I-G. And there we talked all about Game of Thrones. We discussed all the details of that franchise. Anyway. And then I got home and watched television. There just wasn't time for a program tonight. Sorry. Wait till the dust settles and see what happens. Hello, Just Mo. How are you doing, dear? Hello, J.L. Thorpe. Hello, Rush Limbang. All my loyal fans and followers and friends. So anyway, we haven't heard from Shelley in a while. I hope she's okay. Haven't heard her piping in. She's probably still recovering from Gingrich losing. I know she was very, very enthusiastic, bless her heart. Unfortunately, things don't always go the way we'd like. And that's life, and you have to keep on going on forward anyway. I hardly ever get what I like. You know what I mean? So anyway. What are you going to do? I think Ricky Nelson is really an effective cure for anything that ails you, though. I mean, my God. Look at that face. Look at it. So good looking. Anyway, people, I think that Mitt Romney will be just fine. I really do. And I like the fact that he's normal. I like the fact that he has money. I don't want a failure as president. You know? I want someone who's capable of some kind of success. Although, I was thinking, here's a little something to leave you with. I keep thinking about how they treated Palin and how they continue. Who's the one who won? Like, was it Charlie? Not Charlie Rose. One of those Charlies. One of those programs. Charlie Gibson. He was asking her, well, what did you think is the difference between the Reagan doctrine and the Bush doctrine? Or was it the Monroe doctrine? And it was like, and he didn't even understand what the Bush doctrine was himself. Remember that? And they never asked Obama anything that complex, and they certainly never asked Joe Biden anything that complex. I don't even think they asked John McCain anything that complex, and they're certainly not asking any of these candidates anything that complex. And remember how they went on and on and on about how she's so stupid and provincial, and that she wouldn't know anything about foreign policy. She had no foreign policy experience. What foreign policy experience does Mitt Romney have? What foreign policy experience did Rick Santorum have? I mean, I guess he was a senator. I mean, what foreign policy does Obama still have? It seems like every time he's gone overseas, it's been a nonstop embarrassment, and it seems like Hillary and John Kerry are handling all the foreign policy decisions. They were so unfair to Palin. They still are. It's ridiculous. And that what's his name? That Bryant Gumbel. Oh, don't even get me started. I'm out of time. We'll talk later. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.